make a motion to bring the Board of Health for Warren, Massachusetts to order at 6 p.m. on July 9th, 2024. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion made, second. Meeting is now in order. Oh, it's on my phone. So, Village Market.
Before you do that,
Yes?
announcement of broadcasting.
I'd like to make a motion here that we're being broadcasted to the public today.
By WCAT.
Huh? You know what? All in favor? I guess, aye? Aye. So we're being broadcast. So Village Market. Village Market is is coming together, but it's very, very slow. The paperwork, as we know, has trickled in here, and what we're pursuing today is that to make sure that we have everything we need that is required to fill out the application, make the application complete, so that we can start this 30 days. So a couple of things, some documentation was missing, and we sent Village Market a email, and they responded. I don't know if what to do from here, except I guess go over everything, unless anybody's got anything to say. I'll start off with the equipment that's not being used. Is it, do we feel that it should be taken out? Can we put yellow tape around this? Let's start with the ice cream machine, the soft serve. Go
If I
ahead.
could make a suggestion, just to review the letter that was emailed and then maybe go through her responses to each bullet item. Maybe
Each
that
one
would
of them?
be
Yeah,
easier to keep track of stuff.
okay. So, per the board meeting. So per the board at the meeting on June 12th, 2024, you have been given 3 months to submit plans for a under sink grease.
6 months.
6 months. 6. This looks like a 3 from here.
It's 6 months to complete it, 3 months for a plan.
And 6 months to complete the installation. Plans must include a license. Oh, off hauler. Did we get any documentation on that at all?
So there's a document here that you all got a copy of that has her responses to your letter. So that number 1, what you just read off, her response explains.
So she says at the June 12th meeting, we unanimously agreed on a follow-up in 6 months of the grease trap. As I currently assured, and as you all concurred, I will have a plan within the 6-month period. It is possible that financial constraints may prevent me from purchasing the grease trap as indicated at the June 12th meeting, a course of action in which all attendees were in agreement. So we're still good with that one, correct? Everybody in agreement for that one? Yeah?
So I thought it was a 3 month.
It was a 3-month
For a
review-
plan,
for a
for
plan,
some
and
type
then a
of
6-month
written plan.
install.
Just having a plan really wouldn't have put any money out yet. And just to have a sketch, a plan, something in the works within 3 months. That's, I thought.
That's what we
Assumed
agreed to.
we agreed on.
So it's gonna go under the 3-bay sink though, I mean,
Right. But there still has to be a plan for the plumbing, because the plumbing in that place, the whole place has to be upgraded. It is not compliant. So we had agreed originally upon a 3-month plan to implement within 6 months.
Well, I'm open for suggestions. Do we say, to 3 months for a plan?
Yep,
So even though we don't have any plan at this point in time, if we open the application, then she'll have 3 months from today.
come up with a plan to install, purchase and install the police trap.
From today. Sound good to everybody? So we'll just make that from when all forms are submitted. Number 2. I lost number 2. New foam tablets cannot be used in a sanitizer in this food establishment, especially on food contact surfaces, such as the meat slicer, because they do not sanitize against
Foodborne illnesses.
foodborne pathogens. The health inspector stated that you would like to use a chlorine as a sanitizer, and will have appropriated test strips available for the next inspection, along with the proper dilution concentration needed. And she's saying that I will be using Clorox bleach as an original concentration as suggested by Tricia during the inspection. I have the chlorine test strips model S25-123 for testing the appropriated levels of sanitation. As Tricia's suggestion, I have marked the sink where the chlorine meets the appropriated levels. So then she's gonna mix everything right in the sink.
Yep.
Okay. Jess, don't you also have like a little formula there for, or did it go over this way? Can we get her a copy of that as well? We have a formula for how much of the chlorine should be diluted with water.
I'm
Out there in the big world.
so sorry. I was notified before the meeting that that form is not as accurate as we suspected. So I think we'll review it before
Okay.
that's
All
pushed
right.
on any further.
Does everybody agree with her procedure then for measuring this chlorine solution?
Yeah,
It
as
can
long
be
as-
verified at the time of the inspection, just, it's a little wonky to read it the way it's written, but it can be verified at the time of the inspection. Typically, what we're looking for chlorine sanitizer is between 50 to 100 parts per million, and it's typically around 75 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit for the water.
Okay. Number 3. I will use wet Swifters until a mop sink is installed to ensure proper cleaning. We did something there for, oh, I read it the wrong way. 3. At the planning board meeting on 25th, the board voted to extend the requirements for a mop sink to August 1st, 2024. Boy, she ain't got much time for that, huh? Time, 1, 2, 3, a little over 3 weeks. Until the mop sink will be properly installed. The request to install a mop sink outside the back door of the establishment has been denied. It would not meet the plumbing code. So she's gonna say, I will use the Westminster mop until to ensure proper cleaning. Trish, have you ever seen any other methods out there, or is it all by, let's say it's a coffee shop, where the coffee shop part of it is so small because all they make is coffee, but you're going to need this kind of room for this 17-inch by 12-inch deep, and where are you going to hang them up? Have you seen anything like that out
So
there?
that should be approved through the plan review process when an establishment is initially trying to open up or when they are changing hands. There's certain requirements in the code that call for a plan review, and that's when that should be picked up on. They're dry mopping, even with a Swiffer with the liquid jetting, that's still considered dry mopping. And that is not sufficient to remove any foodborne pathogens, especially not norovirus or anything else like that that's highly contagious, and that might be tracked in or on the floor from a vomit or diarrhea spill. So, to answer your question succinctly, that would be caught at the plan review process, which is where we're at in this right here. So,
Where would she hang that mop? I mean,
she would need a place to be able to properly hang it, and that's part of what we go through with the inspections, is we're reviewing that to make sure that people aren't, taking a closet that was approved at the initial plan review and then turning that into dry storage. Well, then that's now removing your ability to hang your mop and properly fill or dispose of your mop bucket. So that's when things are all caught is here, and then also we pick up on those things during the inspections, and then if things can't be corrected and brought back to a compliant order, then that's when the discussion needs to be made at the time of the renewals process, permit renewals.
she can't hang that mop in the bathroom?
If it's approved during her plan review, which is what you all are doing right now, then that would be where she could hang it. If there's no mop sink, then if the mop sink isn't in the bathroom, then it doesn't make sense to me, I guess, at this point, for her to hang a mop in the bathroom. When the ultimate question is, how is she filling and emptying her mop bucket? Does that make?
Yeah. Does she have any room down there for anything like that? We can't, that bathroom's so small, I don't think could you put a double sink in there and use half of it for hand wash? No, you can't.
I believe we were told at the pre-operational inspection that her plumber, correct me please, had already been in there, and there's no room. There's no ability to put one in there. There was some reason why the bathroom is strictly off limits for her, and that was outside of we didn't make that call. That was something she had already explained to us, had already been removed from opportunity.
It's a very, very small avenue to even get in there too, but we have a mop bucket in there or something too, so I think that's an option.
The bathroom?
Yeah.
We tried at the time to offer some other suggestions. I'm not sure if those have been discussed as a possibility with any of the plumbers that she's hired, but I know that after our pre-operational inspection, she had asked if she could have the mop sink installed outside the building, and that's, you all voted not to allow
The
that.
building inspector said no on that too.
Right, it's,
I'm sure there's no room in that bathroom, correct? What if, in that other refrigerator that wasn't empty, that should be empty now, I do believe, I saw something here where she has emptied it. Is there going to be some sort of like splash dimension, you know, between like, so here's the sinks, here's the 3-bay sink. How far could we move the freezer next to that? And then,
So to answer your questions, before a mop sink is installed, and it's been explained to her that the plans should be submitted to you all to approve prior to that being installed. And the reason for that is to make sure that there's a proper placement for hanging the mop, to make sure that there's no risk of contaminating any food contact surfaces or food preparation, food storage, anything like that. So if the only chance she has to put a mop sink in is where that freezer is, well, that's right smack in the middle of her ice machine, her food prep, her food storage. So at that point, and I did try to guide her that you don't want to install anything without the board's approval, because if she puts it in and it doesn't meet the requirements of the code, then she's going to have to also pay to have that removed and reinstalled. It's not a free-for-all situation where it just goes wherever it goes. It has to go through the proper approval process, just as the rest of this application.
and how about the plumbing code? The plumbing code's gonna have something about how far to walk around it and things like that.
So
I'm
hopefully,
sure.
whatever plumber, a licensed contractor that she hires would have a plan in place that meets that code, and then you all are approving to make sure that food code has been considered.
Complied with.
And we don't know when, at what point in time in history, these mop sinks, or have they always been out there since the caveman time, or did this rule come about in 2012 or something like that? Would you know that?
My recollection is that it at least goes back the 30 years that the food code has been in its current version. Current version meaning that it's updated every 4 years, but in its current state, when all the codes were merged into the food code. So for at least 30 years, I believe it's been a requirement to have a mop sink.
They all follow some sort of standard plumbing codes. I mean, it's not something like here's a spigot here, but the drain's over here, so that whenever you can fill up the mop bucket, you know, in one particular location, and after you're done mopping the floor, here's the drain way over here. Or is there a standard configuration of this mop sink being, you know, like I say, 17 inches this way, 12 inches this way, with where you can store the bucket and everything right underneath it? And
I hear your question, and it's a difficult one to answer because each establishment is different. So there's no cookie cutter, this is the precise measurements, this is the precise location. Our food code doesn't give us that. This retail food code is the minimum standards for sanitation in food establishments. So it says, you must have this. Figure out how to make that happen. And then that's where the authority of the local boards of health, the 351 local boards of health in Massachusetts, have the authority to review that and make that decision for your own locale.
so we're gonna have to be flexible on that subject, then, is what happens here, as I can see. Does anybody see any flexibility here whatsoever that this store could have as far as what configuration this mop bucket sink, utility sink could have to fit in this small location away from where it's at? Or it's not on the floor plan, correct? At this point in time?
She doesn't have a plan yet, so the board had previously voted to allow her to extend the requirement until August 1st, so I think it's a little premature to make that decision or determination until she submits a plan, and with the ultimate deadline of installing that mop sink by August 1st. I would have hoped that a plan would have been submitted for this meeting because this short timeline, but
There's no sign of plan. tight yet.
Number 4. Hard ice cream will be used for the flurries. That's the answer. Hold on. Number 4. We have submitted a new ice cream menu. Did everybody read this new ice cream menu by any chance? For the, she's gonna buy bananas. Did everybody see that?
Yep.
It's in your new packet.
So we initially said that there would be no ice cream at all, and it was submitted up for the menu for hard ice cream served from the cooler in front and show that soft serve ice cream is not available. The board has concerns with the ice cream menu, which was not submitted in the time of the application. There are items on it that require more, I should have brought my glasses, more preparation than either soft serve ice cream or a stick blender. Banana boats require bananas, which are not on the listed menu, in order to sell. Milkshakes would require at least one blender, and the Coffee Supreme Sundae includes coffee, which we were told is for employees only. The brownies are commercially prepackaged brownies from the retail inventory, and the vanilla ice cream and the vanilla cake cubes are cut up Twinkies from the retail inventory. The board voted on the June 25th meeting that since Jenna Stewart is the only one person certified in food safety at the establishment, ice cream cannot be sold as this establishment at the time, as further work needs to be done to facilitate this request. She says, hard hand ice cream will be used for the flurries. I have procured a milkshake stick. Does anybody know what a milkshake stick is? What is that?
It's a blender.
It's the
A blender?
stick
Blender.
blender, yeah. There's a spec sheet in the bigger packet.
And has suspended the specifications for that equipment along with the indicated floor plan, with the updated floor plan. Did we get a chance to take a look at that floor plan by any chance? Where's that gonna be?
It's in your new packet right there.
On my left?
Yep.
So there is an updated floor plan.
And it does show the location where the stick blender would be, and there is a spec sheet in there for the stick blender, but as I said, I only had about 10 minutes to review prior to the meeting. Keep in mind, though, that in order to make a flurry or to loosen up the hard ice cream, there would have to be milk or some other liquid added to it in order to allow the stick blender to be able to be used. And if, according to the floor plan, when we're looking in the establishment, with the soft serve machine right behind you, she's wanting to have that stick blender right there in front of her. Right next to the soft serve machine that is out of service would be that small employees only refrigerator, which would be the likely storage location for any milk or cream that would be used with the stick blender. So the flow of food would be the person at the register takes the order, Gina as the food handler would go to the hard ice cream freezer, scoop the appropriate number of scoops into the canister, into the cup. That metal cup would then be taken over to the stick blender where milk or something else would have to be added to it, and any toppings. Use the stick blender. Now we also have to worry about how are we sanitizing that stick blender, how are we rinsing out that cup when it's done, because it's not likely that if you get an order of more than one item, that she's going to have the time to be able to go wash, rinse, and sanitize that sink to avoid any cross contact with allergens. I'm not trying to scare the board away from this. It seems reasonable, but if we really walk through the process, there's a lot more to it that I don't believe is addressed here as a response. And again, I only had about 10 minutes to review the entire packet, so it may be addressed later on. I'm not aware of it, but my initial review of it is it adds more questions for me as far as sanitation practices.
Thanks, Trish. Number 5, wholesale licenses are needed from Chumeras and Bennett's for any products with purchases from them to sell in your store. Unless you transform the ham into a new item, grinder rolls from Chumeras. To use for grinders would not require a wholesale license. But pies from Chumeras to be sold in your store will require a wholesale license unless the items is transformed to a new product. It has been communicated to the board that you are working on sourcing those licenses from the vendors, or you understand you will need to find a new vendor. She says, Chimera's Bakery and Bennett's Market are not in possession of wholesale licenses. Consequently, I will exclusively procure grinder rolls and water rolls from Chimera's and frozen pierogies from Bennett's Market. The vendor that has been duly updated to reflect these adjustments. Anybody got anything to say about that item?
I did not have a chance to verify that the updated menu has removed the kielbasa. So she's, in that additional packet, I believe it's to your left, that was just received today at about 2:45 p.m., something like that. And it was an updated menu for both ice cream and the regular food. So I would just ask that you review that just to make sure that that the kielbasa has been removed. If she's no longer going to be serving it, then it should be removed from that menu as well.
Number 6, the soft serve ice cream machine must be repaired or removed within 6 months for the Board of Health, 6/12/2024. She says, where'd that go? As per the discussion held on June 12th, it was agreed that efforts will be made to repair the soft serve machine. However, it was determined that the current financial circumstances do not support the removal of the machine. it was decided that the placement of an out-of-service sign would suffice for the time being. Once the financial situation allows, the machine will be removed as agreed. Does everybody agree to that?
I thought there was a date given on to that. In one of the previous meetings, we've had several, and I'm not sure of the dates, but I thought at a previous meeting, the board had voted to give her 6 months.
That's what I thought, it was 6 months.
6 months, I thought. So would you as the board want to mirror the above requirement for the mop sink? Or, I'm sorry, grease trap was number 1, 6 months from today's date?
Would you repeat that, please?
I'm just curious if you would want to mirror the 6 months to complete that to the number 1 response,
Ah, that's a great idea.
because I believe you've already voted that on that previously.
At the June
Today's
12th
date.
meeting, the self-serve machine
I think you guys are
for
saying
6
today's
months.
date, yeah, to start at 6 months.
6/12. And then,
Unless it was voted previously to do a different date, I'm not sure.
So, yeah, the original was 6 months.
June 12th.
12th. So I would keep the 6 months.
Six months, make it 6 months?
Yep. That's what the original agreement
From
was.
today's date.
Huh?
6 months from July
From
9th.
June 12th.
June
Or
12th.
you're keeping it
June
June 12th.
12th. That's what was voted at the
That's what
June
was voted.
12th
Alright.
meeting.
So it's almost, basically almost 5 months. It's a month into it already.
Number 7, the board has made aware that the freezer in the back of the kitchen next to the ice machine, which was loaded with equipment and debris on the original inspection, was found to be chock full of frozen foods. At previous meetings, the board was made aware that you have already emptied and destroyed items from the initial inspection. With these findings, the board is requesting proof that the food found in the freezer has been discarded. Village Market says, all contents have been removed from the deep freezer. Enclosed is an invoice from Magnet PI for the elimination and disposal of freezer contents. I could have swore I just saw that. Does anybody want to see this from Magnet PI?
Is that the same company that was originally, that did the original clean out? I don't recall. I remember that there was a handwritten receipt before, for the first time. Is this the same company?
Should be in there, if so.
It's a moot point.
It's the first time I see Magnet out there, Magnet PI. Reminds me of Tom Selleck for some reason. Does everybody feel confident that that meat has been destroyed and all the food in that freezer has been gotten rid of?
I think we
can
still have to
verify
verify
that.
it.
I
I'm
didn't
sorry.
verify that, but see the receipt
Yeah.
or a bill. So,
Yep.
but definitely it's part of the inspection. high priority.
Number 8. You have agreed at the June 12th meeting to stop the use of bagged ice for retail. She says, I have not sold any ice. However, the ice machine has been professionally cleaned. Following the inspection, Tricia indicated that future professional cleaning of the machine will not be necessary. It has been determined that I will conduct routine cleaning of the machine every 3 to 6 months.
If I could please make a defensive posture here. I am not, unless you were there with me, unless my memory fails me, I do not make approvals of anything at pre-operational inspections, especially in this situation. I said, if you have it professionally cleaned and you can show that it's been professionally cleaned, you might be able to, if you have the written procedures, you might be able to request from the board that you no longer need to have a professional come in, because there was a concern that it would be an expense, that she would have to maintain that to professionally clean. And her question was, does everybody else in town have to do this? And I said, not unless the board requires them to. If you'd like to get out of that requirement to have it professionally cleaned, then you need to at least have it done once, learn how to do it, and then put your written procedures together and present that to the board to decide if you need to continue with professional cleaning or not. So
I think it's something you should probably have a log right next to it, or a list, date cleaned, issues.
if you're doing it yourself, yes, but
So
I
if someone
did-
walks in, they can see when it was last done.
I did not tell her that she doesn't need to have it I did not make any decisions on behalf of the board. And I want to defend myself with this one in particular, because I did not make that decision for the board.
So, my input here is that the Clean That Ice machine is terrific, but still, the water itself, West Warren's going to be groundwater, which is much better than it being a reservoir. But still, you could get anything in there whatsoever through the pipes, through lead pipes. We don't know what kind of, should that water be tested at that ice machine to see if it's lead-free and things like that, to pull out all your contaminants, whether or not it's, iron, at what micron level, 2 microns, 1 micron. It's just an aesthetic thing, but still.
Actually, it's not, it's a heavy metal and it gets into your system, you can't get rid of
You
it.
can't get rid of it, exactly. So we're not really, as far as I'm concerned, we're not chasing a problem with the ice machine as much as, how about the product that it's doing? And the product itself, sure, we're not into a boil of water or anything like that, but whether or not you want to drink it or put it in your iced tea is another question. So you can't. I'm against it being sold. To bag that and sell it.
She's not
Oh, she's not
bagging
selling.
the ice. No,
Not
that was
bagging any ice.
She's not bagging any ice. In the previous application, she said she's no longer doing that. At the pre-operational inspection, she said she will not. I advised strongly towards not doing it because of all the added testing and things like that. I said, don't let this hold. Actually, it might have even been one of the previous meetings here in person when I said, if that's what's gonna hold up opening your business, don't let that be the thing
I
that
think
keeps
that
you from
was
opening
said
up.
here on the 12th.
Mhm.
It was, yeah, not the last meeting, but the previous, yeah.
Yeah.
So-
We also discussed at that time, there should be an inlet filter on that machine before the water gets into the machine.
And we talked at the pre-operational inspection to make sure that when it got cleaned, that she had the technician walk her through everything and all the ins and outs of the machine and where the filters are. We spent a good amount of time talking about that.
And those filters should have a specification for at least 2 microns.
2 microns.
You know, I mean, don't get something that's got 20, because you can get a lot of things through there on a 20. Which brings up, again, the water going from the main line could be fine, a cast iron, plastic. What about the service line going into the house to that ice machine? Is that going to be now a lead pipe with, or maybe something there that, so where do you test it? So the water company tests that water, and through the state, everything's going to be copacetic, but still, it would be nice to have a test done to see where that water sits once you get it into the establishment. So she's just going to, so you ain't got a bag, and she's just going to use it for what?
She's not using it as far as what's been indicated to us on the application and in the pre-operational inspection conversation. She's not using it as an ingredient in any foods or beverages. She's not even cooling any food, so it wouldn't be used in an ice water bath or anything like that to cool foods. She's strictly using this for her own personal beverages. From what she's told us, is that your recollection as well? I don't recall her saying she was using it for any food products for customers,
Or private use.
for private use, in which case,
And
do you have it written in there? Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
on my minutes right here, it says the ice machine is on a 6-month cleaning schedule, and it is scheduled to be cleaned in July. She will discontinue the sale of bagged ice due to the additional regulations on water testing, etc. And they can use the ice for personal use only, or using it to bring food items down to temperature if needed.
So that one's gonna be okay then?
Yep.
June 12th meeting, you have agreed to not use the convection oven. Must be removed from the establishment. I can't get any feedback on removing equipment that is not necessary from anybody out there. So I mean, the first thing that's gonna happen here is I do believe that, I haven't reviewed it either, but we're gonna find that the convection oven that she's using is a residential convection oven. And it should be, go ahead.
Sorry, if I could just make a clarification that there were 2 pieces of equipment, one being the convection oven, one being the pizza oven. The pizza oven is still up on top at our pre-operational inspection, was up on top of the prep table. It's a massive piece of equipment. And then underneath that prep table was the smaller convection oven, which I believe is commercial. We had some spec sheets in the original, but she had said that it wasn't going to be in use. Either way, neither of those are to be used according to the menu and the foods that she's hoping to serve. So I think that when the conversations happen, one is the convection oven, one is the pizza oven.
And also the hood vent, to vent all of that heat that those 2 pieces of equipment will generate, has to be
The
outside.
convection oven may not fall under that requirement, but the pizza oven would, because there's a lot of heat escape from
Even
that.
as a commercial convection oven?
It's a very small unit, about the size of my briefcase.
I think you just, and then what you're gonna,
Yeah, okay.
what you're gonna get into is how much usage is it going to get that generates to figure out, you know, how much it's going to generate. But, so you generically put this term under the word commercial. And all commercial equipment has to be vented to the outside, is where it's not.
Okay.
From what I understand out there.
Fair. I thought we were moving away from the requirement for hood by limiting the menu and then because the menu is limited, then asking her to remove any equipment that is not going to be used for these purposes. As I mentioned to her in the inspection, having the pizza oven there and then having those trays and everything that you use for baking off pizzas appears that she would be using that pizza oven.
Right, and if
So-
she's not using it, that's usable space she could use for something else, like maybe replacing a mop sink in one of those areas.
Or just having more counter space to
Yeah.
work, period.
So then that's an awesome idea. Since it can't be used now, to take a look at the possibility of that being removed and that mop sink being put in there. Either her floor plan's gotta change, or we'll make that recommendation. Anybody have any suggestions? Oh, can everybody confirm that we're talking about section or number 12?
Yes, number 12. 12 was right against that corner. It was right up against that wall, and then 11 must be what was underneath, right?
Yes. 12 is the pizza oven. She's showing that the convection oven is removed from this, so number 11 would be the pizza oven, which at the time of the inspection, we did suggest that it be shifted so that the opening of it and the fact that she had the pizza trays there, it looked like it was operable. So the suggestion was made, for the time being, turn it so that it doesn't look like you can operate it. Turn it so that the mouth of the oven is up against the wall so that it has the appearance of not being operable. That was not meant to be an authorization to allow it, and that, I remember the conversation, the suggestion was made. It was not an authorization to keep it.
Well, in my opinion then, I think that, I mean, I'm really not an interior decorator or anything like that, but it certainly looks like the right thing to do. To have, instead of that equipment just sitting there, move it and put in the utility sink. To suggest it to her, or do we agree that that's where that should go? But we don't know what a plumber could find there. And it's
You're gonna
very-
find out where he's planning on, because he's gotta run plumbing lines, he's gotta run a drain line, he's gotta
Yeah.
run water lines.
Yeah.
It's not just stick it.
Right, right. But it is on the floor directly above the basement, and everything will be there. If he gets down in that basement, if he ain't got no,
If there's no plumbing there, he's got nothing. He's gonna have to run all the.
how do those three big sinks then get plumbing? Where does that plumbing come from?
I don't know.
Well, then we'll just have to add to the suggestion that a plumber get in there and take a look to see if it's
Plumber's
possible.
already said that, you know, even if the three-bay sink, all that plumbing is wrong. There's no vent for that system at all. So he's gotta run a vent through the roof or through the sidewall or do something to get that to flow the right way. So it's not an easy fix. basically what you're looking at right now is the house that Jack built. And then Jack's brother added onto it, and then Jack's other brother added onto it.
So then the question would be, like, do we just put a halt on everything because we don't know? Or the plan isn't complete enough to really establish a firm grip on this works, this works, this works, this works? Or do we continue to try to find things here that we're basically rebuilding her floor plan for her? I'm not gonna pay for a plumber to go in there and see what it's gonna cost to put in a vent.
That should have all been looked at before she even bought the facility, bought that building. She should have had everything looked at ahead of time.
How long has she been here, do you figure, Dan?
I have no idea.
Any idea, Jim?
Store's been different hands for years, and I can remember. I don't know exactly remember how long she was under her.
It was prior to my first tenure here, so 2018, maybe 2019.
I believe I was talking with the clerk today regarding a business permit, and it was around 2019.
What year?
2019.
2019? Is it that the guy that owns the market at the corner of Bacon and Main owned that before her? Do we have anything like that out there? I thought I heard that through Joe once upon a time, but no worries. So at that point in time, when she bought it, did she buy just the grocery parts store of it and then build up into a deli? And without, and now looking, so that food permit, so somewhere in her file, we must have a bunch of food permits that she's going through within the years. If I'm not mistaken, we can find out how far it's going back, who was, what happened from there, and move forward. Let's just make the suggestion to her that she should get rid of that equipment, the pizza and the convection oven, and get a plumber in there to give her an estimate. Estimates are free, to find out what it will cost to get a mop bucket in that area. We'll send that out. You gonna say something?
I'm trying to take my own notes here, so are you just making a suggestion to remove the pizza oven? Is that how you're?
To remove both the pizza oven and the convection oven to facilitate the installation of the
Mop sink.
mop sink. Get a plumber in there. Get a free estimate. And then I don't meet that criteria. And then as she moves forward, she can work it from there.
If that is determined to not be as a good location for a mop sink, are you allowing the pizza oven to remain?
Do we, I'm looking for suggestions. Do we get that equipment off-site board, or do we leave it
If
there?
it's not gonna be used, why do you wanna leave it there? You could use that space for other things, even though if it's not accessible for a mop sink, you can use that counter space for something else. It doesn't necessarily,
I say if it's not working, not usable,
Get it out of there.
it's junk.
All right. Yeah, let's
It's
get it out of
valuable
there.
real estate in that store, and she's not making use of what she has.
Okay. Yeah, let's recommend we get that, that equipment has to be removed. By the next inspection.
Prior to the next pre-operational inspection.
Yes. Submission of, stand by. You have June 12th meeting. You have also agreed to not use the convection oven, must be removed from the establishment. Okay, so that's confirmed. Submission of new spec sheets with active use commercial equipment only is to be submitted to fulfill the request of the application. Well, that equipment's gotta be, you ain't got no room for it at this point in time. She says, attached to this email, you will find the spec sheets for your review. Spec sheets for a convection oven.
That's the old one.
That's the
new
old
is
one,
to
the one's
your
gonna be
left.
on my left here. Thanks.
Included in those spec sheets is the stick blender that you were asking about earlier.
Yeah. You know, by the time I'm done looking through all these spec sheets, you think it was a Golden Corral or something, you know? It's just a little dully.
Imagine the specs that a bigger company has.
Yep,
Right?
yep.
Well, that's gonna take a while there. Active commercial use, well, not for nothing, hey, but this is going to be, a convection oven that can't be used at this point in time. If she has to get it out of there, whether it's commercial or not, she ain't got no room for it. Until she can find room with a new floor plan, to find out where it's going to go. At one point in time, board, are we going to consider this either a mess or has to be sent back and redone with our suggestions? Like I say, I'm not an interior decorator here. Just, let me know whenever anybody has any
There's too much
suggestions.
here that's left up in the air.
This could go on forever. This could go on for a long time.
Doesn't really seem like there's much progression here. Like a plan, if something would have been needed by August 1st, should have had a plan today. It doesn't seem like, even in 6 months. We're asking for things in 6 months. Or what, 5 months actually. Are we?
And you know, with the Swiffer mop, come August 1st, which is only 3 weeks away, what are we gonna do? Well, oh, well, you should have really thought about putting a mop sink in, or, and she's only got 3 weeks to figure out what to do from where that mop sink should go. It's mandatory.
The way this is worded, I will use a wet Swiffer mop unit. I will use a wet Swiffer until a mop sink is installed to ensure proper cleaning. That can go on forever.
But you're only giving to August 1st.
Right.
And that expires.
Right, but if you don't put a deadline on it,
That's what.
it's gonna go forever.
There's gonna be strong deadlines here. For almost everything, I would say. Moving items to whatever.
So by August 1st, she's actually got to change her whole floor plan, and have that sink installed. At that point in time, what are we going to do? Extend the Swiffer mop for X amount of days, X amount of months, or just say, look, this is what you need, this is what is required. Do we have enough information here to keep this application rolling? Is everything submitted? No, because here's a floor plan which doesn't meet what's got to happen. So, what are we doing? You let her know then that this floor plan doesn't meet the criteria for a operational kitchen. So then this original application is still open then because we haven't all the correct paperwork. Do we want to go through the last couple of items then? Find out what has to be done?
Yeah, there's some.
There's only a couple.
Ice cream menu.
Spec sheets, number 11. Floor plan must be submitted, here we go, submitted to scale with items not in use removed. Well, there you go. Because the floor plan that she sent us still has those items in there. There they are. So that's incomplete. As is full out service. Remove or repair, number 30, the mini beverage cooler. Number 30, mini beverage cooler.
It should be the one behind the counter.
Oh, it's way over here. That's a 3-bay sink. So that, oh, behind the counter, Dan? No, I heard you. Floor plan. Number 5 is out of service. Remove or repair. Number 30, the mini beverage cooler must be labeled as employee use only. Number 20 lists a grease trap. What? Trying area, grease trap. Future. Operational brand. What is stored in it? Health inspector was previously told it never worked. Number 28, a hot dog roller. Hot dogs are not on the menu. 29, soft serve machine, remover repair, convection oven, baker's pride oven, pizza oven, remove. Well, there you go. So none of that's removed. So the original list that we came up with is incomplete. She says, what does she say? During the inspection conducted on June 25th, Tricia and Jim authorized the repositioning of the oven with the addition of an out-of-service notice. I am currently unable to bear the expense of removing the item.
I think you're in the wrong one.
Am I?
Yeah.
Eight,
You
nine?
need to be down to 11.
11. The floor plan has been updated and the mini cooler is labeled employees only. This designation was presented on the cooler before the last inspection. It was?
I can confirm, my recollection is that there was a notice on there that says for employees only or something to that effect. But again, looping back to my original concerns with the hard ice cream flurries and things like that, there's,
It's gonna become a storage central for all the stuff for the ice cream.
yeah, I, you know, and we also don't, when we go back to the hard ice cream and the flurries, and then in the next bullet down, when we look at the ice cream menu itself, where are all these toppings being stored? The likely place is that small cooler right next to the soft serve machine. So I don't have the warm and fuzzies looking at this the way that it is. I think it looks good on paper, but I don't have the warm and fuzzies about the actual flow of food and storage of food.
It really doesn't look good on paper because it doesn't list all the items that you would need to make those types of ice cream fraps or whatever they are. Okay, you need the nuts, you need the cherries, you need the whipped cream, you need the additives for the banana boat and all this stuff. It's not there. Can't just say banana boat.
There's probably a whole large refrigerator worth of stuff you would need
Yeah,
to cook. It really isn't there.
I think I've read Stephen King novels that are
and
as
some of
scary as
these
this thing.
drinks,
You know
now
that?
mind you, some of these drinks,
Huh?
some of these drinks, and I've worked in soda fountains before, where they make fraps and stuff, do require ice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or someone may request ice. In a drink.
You know, so the floor plan is not complete. Let's continue on here. Not complete. Number 12, final submission of menu with all items being sold. So that menu, where do I get with it? It still has Sundays. When was this received? July.
That was today.
It still has Sundays on it. With a turtle brownie. Okay. And we, so she's got to resubmit a different menu. She's,
Can I ask a question? Are you asking her to submit a menu of just plain ice cream, no toppings and so forth, or
Well,
just so
what's-
I can make sure my
what's-
notes are.
I'm saying no ice cream, because what happens there is she's the only one that's capable of serving the public. She's got the Serve Safe certificate. Her mother doesn't. So, not for nothing, hey, when she's gone, when she leaves, she can't have somebody behind that cash register to serve that ice cream or anything there, whether it's got sprinkles on it or not. No?
Right, but her thing is, she's saying when she's gone, she'll have that station closed.
Going back to number 4, she does respond to that,
Yeah,
if that's okay.
that's how she responded to it. That station will be closed when I'm gone.
So, I mean, we can talk about all the things here on this menu, I mean.
But then again, look at the menu for the ice cream. Does it list all the toppings?
Does it list all the different ice creams, Dan?
Does it list all the ingredients?
2 scoops of mint chip ice cream. Excuse me. Topped with crushed Oreo, chocolate syrup, whipped cream, chocolate chips, and a cherry. 2 scoops of cotton candy ice cream, topped with gummy bears, Pop Rocks, whipped cream, and a cherry. That's the cotton candy surprise. What?
So you have some chocolate chips, cherries, whipped cream.
Which all could be coming out of
Multiple.
dry stock,
Yeah.
but it's not identified.
Do you
The
have?
banana boat, what do you use on a banana boat? There's 3 different types of ice cream. There's a split banana. There's your choice of toppings, pineapple. Okay, you have chocolate, vanilla, and whatever the other one is, some people go with coffee. Okay, then you have your cherries, then you have your nuts, then you have your whipped cream.
And typically, the hot fudge and the caramel sauces would need to be warmed, but she removed the warmers from the spec sheets. I'm not familiar with products that don't need to be
There are
kept
some
warm.
jarred products out there, caramel and chocolate, that you can just.
Oh, like the squeezy, maybe.
Yeah.
But that's not
Squeeze
clarified.
in a bottle.
Yeah.
Okay, let's continue on then. I don't know what to do with that menu. That menu doesn't reflect anything that she's capable of doing at that store. It's gotta be a different menu. You gotta get a different menu from her that what she's capable of doing. With the ice cream, so she's gonna take hard ice cream and do all that to it. And then she needs a blender, like you were saying. She's gonna walk to that blender and then clean that blender and walk it over to the sink, to the sanitizer. I mean, how many blender containers can you have to facilitate that? Put that one in the basin, in the sink until you get to this one done, and then you can clean them. Like 20 of them on
There'd
hand.
have to be a lot of little dishes, ice cream scoop. Well,
So now you're gonna walk from this ice cream cooler, like you said, to where this blender's going to be. Did she put down where that blender's gonna be? Did anybody see that?
Yeah, right across from where the stick blender is, right directly across from the soft serve machine. So as your back is to the soft serve machine, the stick blender would be right in front of it.
your counters over here, so all
Yeah.
that work would be.
And there's no real prep table, so she'd have to go into the back as well to cut up bananas unless she had those pre-cut and stored somewhere, but there's no refrigerator, again, in that front area besides that employees only refrigerator. There's a lot of, in the design of this and the flow of food, there's a lot of back and forth and back and forth. It's a time consumer just to make one sundae.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not that we dictate the efficiency or speed of service, but it doesn't seem,
So then, yeah, that's a good point there. So whatever she's gotta do to make those Sundays, she's got the equipment to do it and a place to clean it and, so you gotta walk a little bit. The ice cream goes from there. So then the question would comes down to just being certified, and only being used when she's there and not selling ice cream. Does everybody agree on that? I take that as a no. Nobody has a problem with her. Should that be open? Should she sell ice cream? Let me try it that way. No?
We have to get an updated menu of what she's gonna have in there,
This is the updated menu.
but it doesn't list it.
Want to see it? Well, like we said, with the coffee, the coffee machine was supposed to be only for employees. Now it's going to be used to make coffee sundaes.
I think that one was removed. On
No,
my
it
quick-
says Coffee Supreme right here.
Does it have coffee listed as an ingredient?
2 scoops of coffee ice cream topped with crushed health, beef bits, whipped cream, and churn.
So I think she removed the milkshake that had coffee in it. Unless I missed it. I'm still not convinced she has the space to do what she's saying that she's gonna do, but
That's what I kind of agree.
yeah.
The space is limited.
There's only that one reach-in cooler in the back, correct? So that reach-in cooler is gonna be for all the meats and cheeses. I think there were 3 or 4 different kinds of cheeses, 7 different kinds of meat or something like that. So that can't be, unless she keeps just that top shelf for ready-to-eat toppings. But then there's a risk of allergen cross-contact with any of the meats below if she has Heath toppings and anything that might have allergens in it. There's really no way for her to keep her ice cream toppings separated from the rest of her foods with just that one reach-in cooler if they're required to be refrigerated.
Well, your chocolate syrups and stuff don't have to be refrigerated. Those are out in the market on the shelf, and you bring them home, same thing, because they gotta be somewhat squeezable and liquid.
Right.
Okay.
But
Same
if
thing
she's
with
opening it-
caramel in a jar, you scoop it out with a spoon.
If it's in a jar, but if it's in a 10-pound can or something like that, the food code still,
Right.
once it's opened, you have to use it.
Yep.
How about the whipped cream? That's gotta be
Whip-
refrigerated.
Whipped cream needs to be in that, so yeah, those things that, whether it's for quality or safety, if she's going to try to store it somewhere refrigerated, it's gonna have to be on that top shelf in that small reach-in cooler that we've all seen. That's also going to hold all of the vegetables that she's pre-cutting and pre-slicing and the lunch meats that I can't imagine she's going to slice every meat to order per sandwich. She would need to have some prepped, pre-sliced to be able to make that sandwich to order, right? So then that's storage space as well. I'm having a tough time with just that one one door reach-in cooler.
Why? That's right. I mean, not for nothing, hey, but even if you go to the original Sunday shops and everything are gone. And what they had to do was they had all the ice cream right there, And then you still had to take that scoops of ice cream that you put into this container to where those mixers were. And usually they're like a 3-bay mixing thing.
Right, and right behind you, you just flip around right there, stick the thing in there, boom, run it for a few seconds, take it back out, put it into another cup to serve them. Then you take that cup, put some water in it, run it around the flurry again, and dump the water out, that's your cleaning.
The one up in Ware, right on the Ware Westbrookville line, that little ice cream shop up there on the hill. That ice cream is a couple steps away from where you gotta mix it and put it to the blender. Rondo's is almost the same way. You can see them take it out of the cooler down here and then walk over here to where the blenders are. So I don't know if that's quite an issue.
It's not, it's really not an issue. The issue is all the stuff that's identified for this is either gonna be identified that it's an added material that's coming into the store, or it's all coming out of dry stock. And we know whipped cream's not coming out of dry stock. We know, cherries are not coming out of dry stock. I mean, the menu has to reflect what it's gonna have.
So it's just ice cream only? I mean, make a cone, make a milkshake, but either vanilla or chocolate.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna do everything else, you gotta make sure that everything, all the stuff is identified. Then you have the grasshopper delight, 2 scoops of chocolate mint ice cream, topped with crushed Oreo cookies, that can come from dry stock. Chocolate syrup, that can come out of dry stock. Whipped cream is gonna have to be refrigerated. Chocolate chips can come out of dry stock. And your cherries. And Pop Rocks, gummy bears, all that stuff, the candy toppings, all come out of dry stock. Your cakes, your whatever can come out of dry stock. Then you get nuts. Now you're talking about your other toppings too, for banana boats and everything else, and banana boats not even listed on here.
And banana boats.
It says it right here, hard ice cream will be served, bananas will be purchased from Big Y as they are seasonal and will only be required for short durations. They're not on the menu.
Yeah. Well, that's where I was at on just hard ice cream only, when she's there. But then that says she's gotta come up with a different menu. So,
Well, either way, she's gotta adjust the menu.
pardon me?
Either way, she's gonna have to adjust the menu.
Yeah. So it's a new menu.
Being only hard ice cream.
Yeah, unless she adds the stuff to the menu. I mean, that, you can't make a banana boat without bananas. Bananas aren't on the menu.
For this last one, do you mind reading what was in the letter to her before you read her response? I don't recall what was said.
Pardon me?
Sorry, for number 13,
Yeah?
would you please read out loud what was put in the letter to her before you read her response out loud?
Oh, So we said, when the second pre-occupational inspection is completed and the final inspection is scheduled, there will be unannounced inspections during operational hours monthly for the first 6 months. The board voted to make you responsible for paying for these inspections. Um, "13, please be advised that while unannounced visits are welcome, I will be unable to cover the cost associated with any inspections." "Kindly arrange for alternate payment methods for such visits, as it is not within my responsibility to compensate the health inspector. Thank you for your understanding."
Well,
So, let's go back to the original part here. When the second pre-occupational inspection is completed and the final inspection is scheduled, there will be unannounced inspections during operational hours monthly for the first 6 months. The board voted to make you responsible for paying for these inspections. She says she can't. I got a problem with that. If she can't, this whole thing, in my opinion, should just go right down the drain. Anybody got any ideas?
I think we made an motion, stick with it.
Yeah, it's already been voted on.
It's been already voted on. So if her terms are that we've got to come up with other alternatives, it's already been voted on. If she can't do that, then it's gonna come down to, in my opinion, to either just deny this whole application. Anybody got any suggestions?
Anyway, there's just too much in here that's up in the air. Way too much. I mean, anybody else that would come in here would have A, B, C, D done. Okay, now you don't mind bending a little bit and flexing if there's a way and that you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, but there is no light at the end of the tunnel here.
No, there's not. It is, it's just too much here. It's just not complete. And not with this last item. I'm gonna make a motion to deny this application. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and second. All in favor, say aye. She can resubmit another application whenever she gets everything in order. Moving forward. Update from Health Inspector. Chris, you're up.
I was not ready for that. So, updates. We are now in fiscal year '25. So, Jim accompanied me on the last couple of inspections. I think there might be one that we didn't get to, but I still have to reach out to the state on certain items there. as far as raw milk is concerned. So I think we did a really good job. I think we have a pretty good plan in place for FY25 for routine inspections and then follow-up re-inspections as needed. I think what we're noticing, what I've noticed, and as some of you have joined me on some inspections as well, I think what we have overall in town is a pretty good plan of how we can systematically get businesses up to code. I think is, questions about sanitization and mop sinks has been pretty standard. So working towards that, doing a lot of education and outreach. I think
I was just gonna say, education is a big key here.
it's huge, right? And rather than me going out and reiterating the same things over and over and over again to each business, I was kind of rolling around the idea of maybe we have a couple set education sessions,
That's
like in the
exactly what I was
office.
thinking.
Perfect. I love that we're on the same page. So having a couple education sessions where we call everybody in for like an hour or something and just say, okay, this is what is required of a mop sink, or this is how you properly clean and sanitize. Moving forward, we can't use these tablets, but you can use any of these other items. If you use these, this is how we have to do it. That kind of thing, rather than, because there's such a small budget for the health inspector and for food inspections in this town, I feel like it might be more efficient to do something where we kind of get everybody together or send out blast emails or blast notifications. Somehow find some way to get that education out there where it's consistent, reliable, documented, and move on. So I'm working with a bunch of other establishments in town to try to get them meeting certain expectations prior to the next round of permits. Tomorrow, Jessica and I are meeting to go through the renewal applications. I think we're in a pretty good place, but we kind of want to reconvene, recenter, get on the same page, and make sure that everything is consistently submitted, everything meets a certain criteria before it's submitted to you all for your signatures and reviews. I know we're a little bit behind the ball, but honestly, there have been other pressing issues in town. So I'm hoping, and I think you're on board as well, that within the next 7 to 10 days, calendar days, we're going to have everything tightened up on our end and then get everything over to you all to sign permits. I don't want to present anything to you that is not capable of meeting the minimum standards of the code prior to issuing permits. I don't want to be in this position moving forward. So when it gets to you guys, you can be assured that if something isn't meeting the code, there's a plan in place, and I will have all that documented for you so you can make an educated decision prior to signing any permits, if that agrees with your sensibilities. Unless you prefer to just sign everything off and then we track it back at the end, but I'm not a fan of that.
I'm not.
Okay.
I like the education part. I think that we could also add that to the website,
Mhm.
the town website, actually.
Yeah, at the last meeting, we discussed about adding some educational links to the website, and we can go over that tomorrow and figure out the best
Yeah,
ones
even if we
to.
put a couple links on there to the surf safe.
That is already on there.
It is?
So, and keep in mind, it's not just Serve Safe, that Massachusetts has
Yeah.
that whole list, okay.
Yeah. But I think that if we give it to, not just bring them in, but make it, because you're not gonna get everybody to come.
Yeah.
So if we do something like that, we make it, okay, a couple of days, so that if they can't make it this day, they make it this day. Or we do like maybe we do a Zoom. Or maybe we do, a posting on the town website. We gotta hit it different ways.
I like it. I'm excited to continue the conversation about that and hear what you all have to say and what your idea is for moving towards that education. I'd love to be a part of it.
Well, I used to do, training for, delis and stuff like that. That's where I actually learned everything, was when I was working in the deli. Okay? So I know the processes that go into it, and we can cover a lot of that. I still have a lot of the paraphernalia that I used to run around with, and we can put that out there. So that's one step up on the information line.
Could you send some kind of link or something out and kind of with some receipt that they went over it, sign, like that verified that they went through a 5-step video. Each.
Yeah, you like
Unit.
have a certificate of each at the end of the little
Yeah,
little quiz.
and you would get a
go-
certificate out of it, some kind of, I don't know if they have plans set up or programs set up like
Yeah.
that. Say you go through a unit, kind of like those email trainings that we have to do,
Yeah.
town email, and then you get a certificate there, pass
Yeah.
it.
I like that.
Some kind of system. I don't know if they have any of those.
They're out there.
I think
Yeah.
that if we do it, my suggestion is we recognize the people who've completed it.
Well,
Yes.
that's what I mean, and that's what they get, a
Yeah.
virtual, and then they can print it out and hang it on their wall.
Yeah, we can actually put an honor roll on the town website that these food facilities have.
Yeah, 3-star, whatever, go
Yeah.
by stars, or
Yeah,
have they accomplished this, XYZ. They get a 5-star.
yeah, and
And then it's out there that
anybody in
this
town can look at the
restaurant
website and see
trained
what,
and-
which restaurant is up to par on what.
So one of the conferences that I went to, I love that you all have ideas. One of the I think it was down in New Orleans last year. There was maybe a town in Nevada or a county in Nevada did that, where they had certain trainings, and if you went to a training, you got a certain level, and then as you progress through your trainings, you've got additional levels, and you've got, they were trying to incorporate some kind of benefit for the businesses that wasn't necessarily, bonus points on your inspection, but it was kind of a pat on the back kind of,
Mhm. Your business gets
Acknowledgement.
publicized.
yes.
And then that business has the right to say, hey, I'm a 5-star.
Yeah.
Certifications. and-
Advanced food safety training type thing or
Yes.
whatnot, something
Yeah.
to show, it's a pat on the back rather than a,
Kick in the pants.
Yeah. And then once that gets more and more people might come from other towns to come to
Yeah.
a food establishment.
It's basically, what I have the vision, and you can stop me at any time. My vision is basically to make this department user-friendly instead of retaliatory. We shouldn't be doing that. We should be just going out there and coaching people to get things done the right way and do it the right way. It's a benefit to you, it's a benefit to your customers, it's a benefit to everybody.
That's why it's outreach. I've been on some inspections, and that's what pretty much your mission is, trying to explain, to educate while you see something, change it if you can, And that's what I see is the way to go.
yeah. Active managerial control, as we learn in ServSafe, as you guys know, is proactive, it's not reactive.
Right.
So if you proactively plan and educate, then it's better than fixing issues after a health inspection.
Mm-hmm.
That's reactive management, and that's no bueno, no good. I could talk all day about food
And
safety.
at the same time,
Excited.
we could, well, I'm not gonna go
Oh, come on, don't stop now,
there.
Dan.
No, I'm not
Curiosity
gonna
will
go
kill
there.
me.
I'm not gonna go there.
Come on.
Well, not everybody can do it because they're not in the field anymore. So not like Jimmy and you, to the point, even Trish. Some of the things that I look at when I walk in a building are OSHA regulations.
Oh, yeah, that ain't gonna happen here, Dan. You're right. Yeah.
So, I mean, if I see something blatant, I'm gonna point it out to the owner. But, you guys aren't really tuned up to the point where you know what you're looking at for.
Yeah, that's true. No worries.
So,
What I love is walking on a roof up there and you gotta put this, some sort of, partition or something, rubber band, or not rubber band, but a band at 15 feet from the end
Edge of the
of the
building.
building. 15 feet.
Yep.
I can guarantee you, at 15 feet, I am already on my belly crawling to the edge of that.
you'd be
Yeah.
surprised how many people aren't.
And they can stand on the edge with their toes over the edge and look down without falling.
Mhm.
You gotta go, no. But just to add a little bit to there, on the restaurant part, back in Springfield, they take the whole hillside and turn it into where all the restaurants in Springfield get to show off. I forget what the name of that. Does anybody know what the name of that? I almost want to say it's like a grease day or something like that.
Kinda like a festival, a taste of Springfield.
Yeah, Taste of Springfield. There you-
Taste of, yeah.
So there you go,
Community,
to have like
sample
a taste of
different food.
Warren. And to have all the restaurants, set up somewhere in the common or something like that, or even just outside. Instead of being inside the building, maybe they can do something outside, and so that people can walk up, stop with their cars, taste a little bit of this and that, and let everybody, become acclimated with all the different foods that are available. I am all for. I am all in for getting people acclimated with what we are supposed to be doing, why we are here, so that we can all work as a team. So the restaurants, the owners, and us, as opposed to seeing us as that different, forget the word you used there, we're the enemy or something like
Yeah.
that. Going forward from there, you almost want to start a class where, hey, if you're going to start a new restaurant in town,
Come see us.
come see us. Exactly, Dan, exactly. Come see us. Let's go over the application together so that this is what we will be looking for. Because of interpretations of words and what's there, at least then they'll get our feedback, which is important, And that would help.
I
Come on in. Let's grab a coffee and come on in.
I think that the open house went pretty well. The open house for the food
Great.
establishments, we had 3 people come in, or 3 establishments come in and ask for help. And it was only a 10 or 15-minute session with each, but it was great. And I was able to get face-to-face with people and help them through that application, the renewal application process. I absolutely loved that. We gave out gifts, which I thought was fabulous.
And that's a way to get
Draw
that,
people
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
gifts
I
and
thought
some
it
incentive to be
It
a
really,
part of it.
I thought, went quite well.
Great.
I don't know, were you in there at any point?
I was there at the end.
Towards the end, yeah. So,
But they had a kit and stuff you were giving out.
yeah. I liked it. If we could do something like that again, I think that was
I think we should do that
fantastic.
annually,
Yeah.
or maybe
Definitely.
biannually.
I don't know, what time of the year would be best? I don't know, maybe that,
Yeah.
winter or fall or spring. I don't know.
And we gotta extend it out to the mobile people as well.
Yeah,
Get the mobile ones in here anyhow, so that they become acclimated with what that mobile food machine should do and what we expect it to do.
For food trucks, you're saying coming
Food
into
trucks,
town?
yeah. Exactly.
So that's what some other towns that have big food truck festival have, like a food truck festival or something, or if they know that they have certain events where all the food trucks come in, they will say, we're gonna do all of your inspections on this day
Yep.
prior to the event, and they'll have everybody come in, and then at that point, they'll say, okay, yes, you're permittable, you're permittable, you're permittable, here's your permit, come in for the day of the event, you're good to go. So that would be a thing, if we ever had something like that, that I would want to discuss with the board, because having all the food trucks set up prior to an event, and then me having to go through and do all those inspections has been a challenge in other locations in the past,
I
so.
can't wait to see that. I can't wait to see that.
I love them. I love food truck
So,
festivals.
so you're saying if Warren ever had some type of festival like that, you'd want to get all the trucks in place the day before?
Perhaps, like, yeah, typically a few days before or whatnot, if they can, if it's feasible, if it's something that, you know, say that we're having 30 food trucks come in for one event that's gonna start at 11 a.m. on a Sunday. I don't wanna be here at 7 a.m. because food truck people don't show up on time.
That's what I mean, the trucks would
And they
actually
don't
come
wanna
back
be,
at the end
and they don't
usually,
wanna be
right?
set up for that long, so it would be
Yeah.
send in your application and plenty of time for us to review it, and then that's when I do the play, you know, the menu and do the review and see the pictures of the food truck and do all those office items for the review, and then once that all lines up, we get the folder together, and then on the day of the inspections, have all 30 food trucks come in, you come in here at noon, you come in at 12:30, whatever, however it would work.
So you'd say maybe set up like a 4-hour window before and have them all started lining up.
Lining up and be ready. Maybe they don't have food on site just yet, but we get the food trucks, we make sure that the food truck matches the pictures that they've sent in, that their menu is all the same, that everything, and then that too, for other towns, because there is a requirement for the fire inspector, if a town is lucky enough to have a fire inspector, to do all those inspections, then that's the opportunity for all that to be done, and then the day of the event, it's a quick, yep, you're here, here's your permit, here's all your food, everything's good, move on. That kind of thing, so it kind of makes it more
It
efficient.
streamlines the process.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
it
I'm
can
just
be
saying,
quick, or it can be.
Say if you're gonna have a food truck festival at 11 a.m., one of them might start at crack of dawn,
Yeah.
getting everyone set up.
Did you say 30 food trucks? might
That would be fantastic, wouldn't it?
Well-
But I've only ever been to one event that had 30 food trucks that I had to inspect.
You're gonna take up every parking
Go down
space
to,
out there.
you can go down to, what is it? I think it's Longshore Boulevard in Connecticut,
Well,
and it's
yes.
acre, it's just one long runway on,
Yeah.
on the waterfront. It's
Yeah.
nothing but food,
And
and they're bumper to bumper.
I wonder if it's still that way now that they've adopted the FDA food code by
I
reference?
don't know.
Because when it was the Wild West in Connecticut, they could do a lot more. We could talk for hours.
Yeah, so I'm gonna move
Off
forward
the-
here
off
off
the
bills and
clock.
payroll. I do believe I gotta read all of these off, to make a motion to accept them
New
all.
business, old business,
They're-
anything.
What?
New business, old business, anything.
Oh, new business, old business? Anybody got any new business or old business out there?
New business, yeah, we got, complaints, 27 Wall Street. Different apartment.
Different apartment, okay.
So I gotta go over there on Thursday. Did she get back to
Yep,
you yet?
the 11th at 4:30.
Okay, and see what the scoop is. This is the same landlord that is still got issues with the second floor apartment. We also need to get the building department involved in this because there's an illegal third floor apartment in that facility. So,
I do believe Bill's still on vacation, if I'm not
the
mistaken.
landlord is, not user friendly. Out of town. He was a kid. So, that being said, the one across the street, 24 North Street, has been cleared.
Is that the
Other
one that shut the
than,
water off?
other than,
That was 27. That's,
other than the fines
Yeah, it's still in process.
that are gonna be set, that have already been levied, that will have to be sent out to them. So, but the new management company seems to be user friendly.
Oh, cool.
Guy's very polite, very nice. When I right there. So he says that'll happen all the time as long as I have the authority through the owner.
The authority to what?
The authority through the owner to make sure that everything is taken care of. So they've been cleared on all 3 apartments that we were involved with.
Awesome. So things are moving forward there?
Yeah.
Awesome. That is music to my ears.
We still have 200 O'Neill Road hanging out there. We still have 11 O'Neill Road hanging out there. We still have 38 Elm Street hanging out there.
But they were all in, with our legal department, no?
I don't know. I asked that question and nobody
Did you?
can seem to be giving me an answer.
No.
I did pull back records on an email from a couple months ago of the treasurer requesting information on 38 Elm Street that they are beginning the foreclosure processes. So that one's at least
So then, once, who's beginning for
38
the owners?
oh, I
Or
don't
are we
wanna
doing the
speak
tax
wrong.
process?
Yes, there's processes starting.
Owed taxes.
Yeah.
Anything new on 102 Coy Hill Road out there?
That seems to be holding its own right now.
That's old business. Cool, there's no new business? Awesome. Bills and payroll. I'll read them off. Stipends for Don, Dan, and Jim, and the animal control officer, the health inspector, Quabbin Analytical, Town of Warren Sewer, Slims and Bartholomew, Burton and LaJudas, Burton and LaJudas Engineering, Burton and LaJudas Monitoring, and Bardett's Trash Removal and Solid Waste Solutions. Anybody got any questions on any of those? I'm gonna make a motion to pay them. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made, second, all in favor, aye? Motion has been made, second, and all in favor said aye. Motion is made. I'm gonna make a motion to approve the minutes from June 25th, 2024. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion has been made, second, all in favor? Motion has been made, second. All in favor say aye. Motion is made. Next meeting to be determined, August 6th or August 11th.
Well, August 11th is a Sunday, so maybe not.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe
When did
not.
that happen?
And
Oh, look at
last
that.
part of the month,
I'm
forget it, 'cause
available.
don't go to the end of the month, because I won't be around.
That's a 13. I didn't bring my glasses with me. 13. Oh, well, I'm just gonna have to put on my orthopedic shoes as I stand corrected here.
So, the end of this month, of August, I'll be out west in Colorado.
What's gonna happen?
I'll be in Colorado.
You are? Well, good for you.
Yeah, it's not fun times.
No? Well, you won't be able to go snowboarding this early in the year just yet.
No, I won't be able to do that. Where I'm going, it's all dry and gulchy.
Out there in the middle, just where it's flat, government-owned
As far as the eye
land.
can see.
Yeah, just
Yep.
before Kansas.
Yeah, I'll be out there for 2 weeks, so. I won't be there.
You know what's interesting about that on the cellular side is that that radio frequency actually dissipates before there's no obstacles,
There's nothing.
nothing, Dan, nothing. So the cellular signal just because of air
Yeah.
dissipates it, and that's why you have to have those. But instead of having them, on every mountaintop, you got them like every 15 miles. I just found that interesting that, well, it worked out that way.
Yeah, so, the next meeting would have to be before that.
Pick a date.
6th, 13th, or 20th?
20th, I'm not gonna be here.
27th.
6?
26th, I'm not gonna be here. It'd have to be anything prior to the week of the 18th. So,
It'd be the
you're doing the
13th or the
13th
6th.
or the 6th, one of those 2 days.
Either one works for me, so.
13th? How about the 13th?
13th?
13th? Awesome. Trish, you good for that?
Sure. Do you need me present, or do you like to have me present?
Trish, I'm
TBD.
I'm gonna put you on
Just whatever.
standby.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever gets
So
put
then
on the
I'm
agenda.
good for anything.
Well.
Colorado sounds fantastic.
Yeah, but it ain't gonna be fun too.
I got a gut feeling something might happen, Trish.
Okay, August 13th it is, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And then I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn the Board of Health meeting for Warren, Massachusetts at 7:55 PM on 6/9/2024.
Second.
Thank you, everybody.
7th. Okay.